All right, let's dive into something pretty intense today. We're unpacking a piece called Exit the Hive, and it asks a question that might make you a little uncomfortable, especially if you're in the tech world. The whole idea is that the startup ecosystem we all know, well, it's not at all what it seems. And look, the source pulls absolutely no punches. It opens with this line, aimed directly at you. There's no subtlety here. The core argument is that the modern founder is just playing a part, wearing a costume in a game where someone else already wrote all the rules.
So what exactly is this cosplay? Well, according to this piece, it's the whole modern startup scene. The argument is that this isn't some organic, merit-based world where the best ideas win. No, it's a meticulously engineered social experiment, a reality that's been carefully curated for a very specific reason.
And this is where it gets really wild. The central claim is that VCs, venture capitalists, are acting less like investors and more like social engineers. Their main goal isn't just funding cool tech anymore. It's about shaping and grooming a whole new type of person, someone who's perfectly built to serve the system, the Hive.
So to really drive this point home and show us where this is all headed, the source zeroes in on one person as a case study, Lucy Guo. Her career path is presented as the ultimate example, the logical endpoint of this entire culture of founder cosplay. Just look at this trajectory. It starts with the absolute peak of tech prestige, right? A Thiel Fellowship, co-founding Scale AI, a super serious company building AI for Pentagon drones. She becomes a billionaire technologist, and then, what's her next move? She founds Backseat, a platform for influencers. That pivot is everything. And this just lays it out so starkly, it's kind of jarring. On one side, you have this deep, heavy military-industrial complex work, building the foundational tech for the government's AI. And on the other side, a platform that's all about personal brand, influence, and monetizing yourself. The contrast couldn't be more extreme. So what's the big takeaway here? According to the source, this journey reveals the system's true endgame. The tech, even something as critical as Scale AI, was just a means to an end. It was the ticket to get the money and the influence for the real project, building a personal brand. The most scalable product isn't software anymore. It's you. It's your ego.
Okay, so how on earth does a system like this actually work? How does it get so many smart, ambitious people to play along with the cosplay? To explain this, the source digs into some pretty heady philosophical concepts to map out the control machine.
The first idea is something called the rhizome. So forget about a simple pyramid with a boss at the top. The tech prestige race is a rhizome. Think of it like a weed system underground. It's decentralized, it spreads everywhere, and there's no single control point. It invisibly connects everyone's desire for money and status, and that's how it guides behavior. And this rhizome works by planting spooks in our heads. A spook is basically a ghost in your mind. It's an idea you believe in so deeply, like progress or disruption, that you don't even realize it's controlling your actions. It's a sacred idea that you're not allowed to question.
And the piece argues that the startup hive is haunted by three main spooks. First, there's techno-optimism, this almost religious belief that technology will solve everything. Then you've got effective altruism, which gives a nice moral cover for getting crazy rich. And finally, the hustle cult, the need to publicly perform how hard you're working, how exhausted you are.
So, where is this programming happening on an industrial scale? Well, the source points its finger squarely at Y Combinator. It argues that YC, for all its talk about changing the world, has become the ultimate factory for this kind of social engineering, churning out batches of founders who have perfectly learned the rules of the cosplay. But here's the thing, it wasn't always like this. And this is where the story takes a really fascinating historical turn. We're going to look at what the source calls the authentic founder network, the one the current system basically copied and corrupted.
Yeah, before all the accelerators and VC funds, there was the City College of New York. Back in the 30s, 40s, and 50s, it was this incredible hub for the brilliant kids of immigrants, folks who were shut out of the Ivy League. So they built their own networks, not for prestige or status, but for sheer survival and to do real groundbreaking work together.
And just look at what these guys built. Seriously, this isn't cosplay. This is the bedrock of our modern world. We are talking about the core theory of the internet, Ethernet, the PDF, Qualcomm. These guys, members of these college fraternities, weren't building brands. They were building the fundamental tech we all rely on today.
And this, right here, is the tragic irony of the whole story.
The very model these outsiders created to survive and build amazing things, this tight-knit, merit-based community, it was so effective that the new establishment basically stole the blueprint. They industrialized it and turned it into a grooming mechanism for a new, compliant elite.
So after all that, after seeing the system, the cosplay, and where it came from, we're left with a pretty stark choice, aren't we? What are you supposed to do with this information?
And honestly, it is really easy to hear all this and just feel defeated. You know, to get what they call black-pilled, the sense that the system is rigged, it's everywhere, and there's just no way out. The game is the only game in town.
But here is the final twist. The source argues that this feeling, that hopelessness, that is the system's ultimate control mechanism. It's the most powerful spook of all. The moment you believe there's no alternative is the moment the Hive has you locked in for good.
So the real path, the way to exit the Hive, is to just reject the game. The call to action is to become a loser technologist. And that's not an insult. It means going back to the spirit of those original hackers, the CCNY guys. It means stop chasing status, ignore the hype, and just focus on building useful, real things that actually matter, even if nobody thinks it's cool.
And so, this whole deep dive leaves us with this one final question. The Hive offers you a clear path, it offers status and money, but it demands you become a bee, playing your part. The other path, being free, is uncertain. It's not glamorous, but it just might be the only place where true innovation can still happen. So the question is for all of us, will you be a bee or will you be free?